that you've got.
Microsoft Reactor connects you with the developers and startups that share your goals.
Learn new skills, meet new peers, and discover the latest in technology.
Events are running around the clock, so join us anytime, anywhere.
Reactors are communities to connect. We want you to meet real developers and entrepreneurs just like you. Here you can get skilled up and learn from our product experts in the Microsoft Cloud and in open source. So watch us on demand and share your own perspective as we live stream in communities all around the world.
Good evening, and thank you all for joining us today. And we are back with another episode from Azure Happy Hour series. My name is Rashmita, and I'm the event planner for Microsoft Reactor India. And today I'm here joined by our very own host, Vivek, who is Microsoft Senior Cloud Advocate and also run this show. Hi, Vivek.
Hey Rashmita, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
All good. Rainy day.
After a long
In
time, we
Bangalore.
are back with
We're back
our
with rain.
favorite Azure Happy Hour series.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, let's get started. But before we start the session, you all know, please read our code of conduct. We are all here to learn together. So please be respectful of other people's views, understanding of differences, being kind and considerate in the way you engage. The chat will be open throughout, and we do encourage you all to participate. With this, I'd like to hand over the floor to Vivek. Thank you.
Thank you once again, Rashmita. Let me bring up my slides. Okay. Okay, I'm bringing it up again. Cool. So, it's welcome to Azure Happy Hour. And please let me know in the chat where you're joining from. That would be cool. I'm sitting in office, Reactor office, Bengaluru, and it's raining. It's amazing in the background. I can see some rains. Yeah, so today we are going to discuss about Azure App Service. So, you know, it's an overview of Azure App Service, but I will make sure that I cover three aspects of it. One is the how you can work with the IDE and how you can look into the different languages and most importantly pre-packages. That is something which I've been exploring, and I think very interesting one, which is WordPress, and we will see how to put that in practice, right? So that's what we are going to discuss today. I see a couple of them joining from Bangalore. That's good. I know this is amazing. It's a nice weather in Bangalore today. So I see a couple of them joining in from Bangalore itself. Great. So let me move on to the next slide. So, bit of introduction. So, this is me. I am senior cloud advocate. Done a bunch of work as part of the software developer, architect, I was part of head of DevOps for BlackBuck. Been a co-founder and developer advocate for DigitalOcean, and this is my second role at Microsoft. My previous role was strategy and investment. That's me, and you can connect with me in these digital coordinates, and you can obviously chat about whatever we are discussing today. Okay, so to start with, so what's today's agenda? I did talk about it. We'll understand why why it is very important to think about PaaS and how it helps your business and customers, in fact. And then we will see Azure App Service. We'll go through a couple of things: what it provides, how it provides, and how it is structured, and what all things you can do. And we will see an example of how to deploy it. Not necessarily we have to use Azure Portal. We're going to use different things while we are doing the demo, and then a couple of next steps which we are going to take care of it. So um, most important thing is, your customers are always looking for speed, right? So basically, whenever you're building something, they are obviously looking at how fast your web application is. And each time there is a new technology coming in, new technologies which has been evolved, your customers are looking at how fast this web app service is, and obviously they will lose interest if it is slow, and that's the main reason you might even lose businesses and other things. So most important thing is to make sure your application is fast, and you're able to build and deploy it faster, and you're able to see the workloads being deployed faster, and obviously you are able to build it on the cross devices. When I say cross device, it could be on mobile apps and web apps which are easily accessible, and should be able to see the consistency between two different devices. So that is exactly the reason why Azure App Service and PaaS layers are very much important. So from the traditional um, hosting perspective, right? We always choose different things to deploy your web apps, and obviously, I think it's way back, probably 10 years back, we were all looking at on-prem deployments of these web applications. Slowly and gradually, we moved to infrastructure as a service, where virtualization, servers, and storage and networking is taken care by the cloud provider, and the PaaS, which is the most important thing to scale and to build your application, where runtime and middleware and operating system is managed by the cloud provider. You're only managing the data and the application, and of course the SaaS model, it's completely managed by the provider, right? So these were the three to four different ways of deploying your web applications. And today we are primarily focused on PaaS. And why would you go back and do this is because you want to go fast and build your application and deploy your application to the cloud pretty fast. And the other thing is, your team is not skilled enough on the cloud, so you want to make sure cloud technologies, when I mean cloud, if they are not skilled enough, you can really make use of these kind of services, which does not require much of hassle, right? Because your development team is focusing on building the functionality, and everything else is being taken care by the cloud provider, which is like the framework. You can use the same framework which you're using. You can use the containers. You can build it on the operating system, either Windows or Linux, and obviously you can standardize how the apps are created and edited, and also make use of fully managed platform, that is load balancing, the security and the compliance, and all those things which are required for your business to run, right? So this is something as a package has been provided from the Azure App Service perspective, right? So it's all of these things looks very similar. I can easily go back and deploy something infrastructure as a service, or container platform, or on a PaaS platform, or on a serverless platform, right? But there are certain differences, and here are a couple of things which is challenges. uh, packaging Patching and management and deployment in infrastructure as services is a challenge, and management of containers and pods and other things in container platforms is also one of the challenges. And PaaS has a limitation of execution environments, because you'll have to have multiple execution environments. And functions as a service is, again, there is a problem with cold start and long running processes. You can't run a long running processes with the fast platform, right? So what is the most advantage of things you get with these things is basically curated VM hosting in infrastructure as a service. There is a curated VM hosting, right? You can obviously have a control over it. And then container orchestrators, again, you'll have a bunch of orchestrations which you can do and manage the containers. When I say curated, it means you can use it with load balancer. You can manage, when to patch it, what needs to be patched, and you are the owner of it, and you have bunch of servers, and you can manage it in a better way. But it is, again, it's manageability. It is more focused on IT and infra teams, while PaaS and FaaS is focused on dev and app admins, which is just making sure that a developer is just deploying it and then it is just running, right? So it's not specifically curated for the IT pros, right? So when I say execution environment, you get bunch of slots and other things to develop and deploy in app services, which is the PaaS layer. And then in the FaaS, obviously, you can scale to zero. That means you can go with zero development, replication, and then make you can scale your application from zero to high. So in net, you have more control over execution environment, infrastructure as a service, and you have less control over execution environments in the PaaS and FaaS layer. So that's how it's been. You can see that there is a lot of difference in that, and there is a lot of value in terms of using PaaS layers, and putting that into execution will obviously help you to build your application faster and build it much better, and it's easy to put it up there, right? So um, so as I mentioned, Azure App Service, it's one of the ways to create a powerful web app, and also it provides you a fully managed cloud platform. We will talk about a couple of things, a couple of benefits it's provide to you. So one is obviously the language support and OS support. You can deploy it on Windows or on Linux, or you can obviously use containers, and it has a staging and deployment strategy as well. You can test it in production. There is app gallery marketplace where you can deploy these apps directly to the marketplace. Fully managed system out there. What I mean by that is basically scaling, load balancing, availability, and taking backups and recovering all of those things which is required for you to scale your applications and manage your applications. So enterprise, again, if you're an enterprise, you will obviously look into the security and compliance and Azure Active Directory integrations. You can also build auth on top of this, and there is a different kind of benefits from a developer productivity perspective. There's an integration to Azure container registries and Docker Hub, and if you are having a container strategy for app service, and there is built-in support for CI/CD and deployment slots. Deployment slots are used for different things. One is, it could be you might have a dev slot, you might have a QA slot, and then production, right? And then you go for production. So these are slots where you deploy your application and test it out, and how to access this slot and use it, right? So that's one of the thing. And obviously, one of the very nice feature of Azure App Service is intelligent diagnosis, and we're going to have a separate session on that in coming days on next year, by the way. So we're going to have that session in Azure Happy Hour itself, but it's the most important thing, where it can easily tell you the root cause of your, if there is an issue with your code, it does the root cause analysis. That's the interesting part. And obviously, fully managed platform, if you're taking that into consideration, there is scaling and load balancing, there is high availability, and patching systems is automated. You don't have to worry about patching. It's already there as part of the service. If you have chosen Linux, we'll make sure that we have patched it right, and we make sure that it is up and running for you. If it is Windows, it is updated, and if it is containers, we know we know how to update it and use it with Linux and stuff. And then obviously backup and recovery systems are available, and there are different choices of how to deploy, from a CLI to from a Azure portal to things. And you could use multiple things to deploy as well. And obviously there is a support for different IDEs as well. So that's what Azure App Service is. And from a high productivity perspective, you develop, build, deploy, and monitor the service. App Service is more catered to the web applications. So if you see here, there is a different languages, different IDEs, different tools you're going to use. There are pre-built packages in this perspective. So let me explain it in a better way and in deeper sense. So basically, when I say development, so when we say first step is for development, that means there is an IDE, there is a support for you to develop on Eclipse or on Visual Studio Code, Visual Studio, and other places. And then there is language support. There is .NET, there is Python, there is PHP, there is Java. There's a bunch of programming languages it support. And the most important thing is pre-built packages, where if you're building something on WordPress and Drupal and other things which is out there, support is available as well. So we are going to see this as an example when we do the demo. We're going to use IDEs. We are going to use different programming language. We're going to use pre-built packages and deploy it as an Azure App Service, and how fast it is to get your application. So that's something which we can definitely do. So that's part of the development, by the way. But when you move into building it, there is first class support for continuous integration with different set of tools, and source code repos integrations with different set of source code management services. And there is a support for container registries, whether it is Docker Hub or Azure Container Registry. So you could obviously build and package it here and deploy. Again, there is a slot deployment support as well, which I talked about, because there could be different ways to deploy these packages. And obviously you can package it in different ways, right? If you have a Java, you're going to package it as var file. If you have Python, you're going to package it as zip. So there are a bunch of other. If you have a container, you want to package it as a containers and all those stuff. So the last part of the thing is monitoring. It's not always about not just putting the code out there. It is also about monitoring it, right? So you need to also go back and monitor the system. So there is a debugging tools are available on different IDs. There is support for that, and then there is monitoring tools, and we're going to talk about that as well when we do the deep dive into the discussion there. So how exactly this all fits in? So we're going to see that now. Okay, so we're going to go through your development, build, deploy, and monitor, and how exactly this will fit in. So if you see this diagram, right, you have code in your Git, and then from there you're moving into, or probably it could be a containerized, and then you're moving into a secure image management system. It could be a Azure Container Registry or Docker Hub, and then you are deploying it to App Service. And while you're using continuous delivery as a strategy, and you're deploying into App Service, there are different slots to do A/B testing. So there is X version, Y version, Z version, and you can test it out in these different slots. And then this is in production itself. You can decide which version is good and other things, and then put it into use and say, okay, this is the X version is good or Y version is good, so I'm going to promote updates with confidence. And obviously I can also roll back and downgrade it as well. So that's the power of App Service. where you have the code and you can use different GitHub actions or anything else to continuously deploy it into these different slots if you want to, and um, promote the version which you want to use and make use of that as well, right? And then the most important thing is intelligent diagnosis, right? How exactly it can tell you about application health and troubleshoot those things, right? So it provides you, then basically it is giving you an experience, like there is a root cause analysis, and possible there is an issue with the uh, you know with the tool, and it with your code as well. So it provides you that information, and as I told you, it's remote debug is available, and then obviously it reports, reporting is good, so you can also take a look at that. But we will do a separate session on this, so we're going to spend a complete 1 hour on how it provides you the health of your application and how it provides you the root cause analysis and other things in our next sessions. So we're going to see that. And when I talk about fully managed thing, it is more about auto scaling and load balancing ability, which can be handled from our end itself. And as a developer, you're only writing the business logic and deploying your application onto Azure App Service, and auto scaling and load balancing is available as part of the settings. We're going to see that. And then high availability with auto patching. Patching is something which we do if you're choosing a Windows or Linux, and or even containers which is running on Linux. The patching is done from our end itself, so we manage the operating system. And the obviously operational cost is reduced, and backup and recovery is also available there. And most important thing about this is it also provides you access to different services which is there, right? So there is CDN service, there is cognitive services, there's functions, and Active Directory. When I say Active Directory, you can build web apps with the login. You can build the front end with the logins and other things, and obviously access your application. So those are the things you can easily build and deploy with the app service. So that is doable. And then I don't want to go deep dive into what is provided in enterprise. Obviously, app service can be deployed in various ways, in multi-tenant environment as well, and different environments and stack as well. When I say stack, it is Azure Stack, which provides on your own data center, you can have your own app service kind of an environment as well. So let's deep dive into the demo, and we will see a couple of things. One, you have the code, and we'll take the code, we'll use the IDE and deploy this application onto the app service. That is the normal programming code. And the next demo, what we will do is we're going to take a pre-package, which is WordPress, and deploy it as well, right? So that's the agenda, and we'll go through that. So let me start with, first we'll go to terminal. So I'm just testing it out. So you can see my screen. Okay. I'll go into Azure Happy Hours. I'm going to, where is, let me take the code which is out there. Let's deploy a Python package, right? Come here. So let me git clone this first. Okay, now we have done the cloning, and what we should do When we have done the cloning of the code, so we'll go here. Oops. I did something. Okay, cdms. Okay, I'm there. And what we're going to do now is pip we will install requirement. So basically what I'm doing is I have a simple code, and I'm installing this. Requirement already satisfied, so it's already there. So I have a code, simple Flask code, and let's open that code itself here. Right. So cool. So we do have the code here, and it's all there. So it's a simple code. So I have one code which is running, and it says ask my name and all those things, and we just provide a name and all those things. So that's a Flask code. We're anyways going to build and deploy now. This y is not selected. It should global one. Nothing is getting selected. Let me try this. Okay, so what we're going to do now is basically we have the code, so we just have to go back, and we did install the pip. Let me also make sure that we did install the pip, because I just moved from there to another workspace, so that is the reason. Okay, so now it is there, and we're going to run Flask run. So I have this in the local. So this application is basically running local. So if I have to go there and open this up, so you can see this is a local system. It's running on localhost. So I just say Vivek Sridhar and say hello, and yep, it's all running. So now what I want to do is basically move this into a very interesting application, right? So we need to build and deploy it onto the um, app service, right? So let's go and select Azure here. So here is Azure extension I have, and in that I have a couple of extensions installed, and here is the app service extension which I'm going to use now. So I'll go click on app service, and I'll say create a new web app advance, and it is asking me to provide a detail. So wiki az happy hour. So it's a unique name. So you're giving a unique name for your application to be accessed, and then it will ask you where you want to create which resource group. Okay, I'm going to choose this resource group, which is Azure Happy Hour. I'm choosing which Python version. I'm selecting this one, 3.10, Central India. And there are a couple of plans which I have created. I can also create a new plan. So in app service, you create a service plan to host your application. It's not like you're going to host it on a whole server. You are basically hosting it within a bunch of servers. There is Azure unit, which will be compute unit, will be provided to you. So with this plan, you can choose which one you want to host with. So service plan is the name I'm going to give, and I can select whichever I want to use. I can select the production, so I can say, okay, this is the bigger one, or this is a okay developer and development test, or there are a bunch of other additional plans which you want to take a look at it. So let me select basic, just for uh, the demo purpose, and then there is application insight. If you want to create one, you can, but that is not the scope. We're going to do next session on that, so skip for now. So now what is happening is it is creating an app service for me. So let it create an app service. So once it is creating an app service, it will ask me to deploy the application there. So I do have a code, and I'm taking that code. I'm using the IDE, and I have installed the extension, which is the Azure extension, and Azure. And within that Azure extension, there are a bunch of services, and I've already logged into my Azure portal and all those things, which is a common step when you work with the extension. And if you see here, it is now deployed in the name which I had given, and then there is a deploy button which will show up, and you deploy. You can basically choose which path. So basically, it is taking the path of from where I was doing these activities. So it is taking this as the default path. You can also browse to the code where the code is, and then deploy it. So I'm just taking this one, and it's deploying that code, and it will also ask you whether you want to make sure that whenever you're deploying something from this folder, it always goes into that workspace. And basically, within the Visual Studio, should it go to the Azure App, um, you know Azure App Service, which is there. So if you see here, now it is deploying, and then if you see this bunch of things happening in the in the background, it is creating a service plan, it is creating the app service, it is successfully adding all of these things there. And you can see it is zipping the code, and pushing that code to the app service, and it will unzip there, and make sure that it is up and running. So the thing which we saw locally, which is this one, which was built locally, is now being um, deployed onto Azure App Service, just by click of few buttons and stuff like that. So it's like you build one simple Flask app, and you want to host that application. You just know you don't need much of a cloud technologies understanding. You don't really worry about with OS patching, or other things which is required. And basically, you can go back now onto the portal and make sure that you have set the scale plan and all those things. I'll anyway show you all of those things, but this is a simple way to deploy your application, a simple Flask application, onto the app service. So it is still deploying, it is taking some time, so let it do it. While it is doing, we'll wait for it to come up. So it has done the deployment now. So you just need to go and browse the website, which is here. And when you click on this, it will open the link, and you can basically see that this application will be up and running in that specific app service. So it will take some time to come there. When it comes, we can take a look at it. Otherwise, I have deployed it already. So this is the one I've already deployed. So you can take a look at this. So this was deployed previously by me. It is taking some time to deploy this one, but while it comes back, we can take a look at it. But uh, the you know it's the same process. So I had the code. I took the code. I used the IDE to install the extensions, and then through extensions, I'm deploying this application there. Now, the most important thing here, what we will see is how do we deploy a pre-built package. So that right now we just used our code and deployed it, but I want to deploy a WordPress application. So I'm doing a blogging and I want to deploy my blog there. And how do I do it? So the most important thing to do is just go to create WordPress on App Service, and choose the resource group. It's the standard way, right? So basically subscription and resource group, and here we go, it is deployed now. So it took some time, but it deployed. So if I say Reactor, it comes out, right? So let us go back here. So let us choose the same resource group, and we can choose whichever uh, region. So this is a standard way to deploy anything on Azure. Like, you have subscription, you have resources, you have region. So that's the thing. So let's choose Central India itself, and we'll give app name as on WordPress with AZ, right? So I'm deploying WordPress now. So it's a simple way. You can just go to the um, create resource, and uh, go to popular marketplace. You can search for WordPress, and you can just click on this and say, okay, create WordPress, and here you go, you'll be here. So that's the most easiest way to do it. And yeah, I've selected the resource group, I've selected the region, I've given it a name. Here is a way, there is a hosting plan, and it completely changes the whole thing, right? So the app service plan is there. That is what we chose when we were deploying a simple Flask app. But when you are deploying a WordPress, there is a completely different way of doing it, because you all not only choose the service plan, but also database as well, because we create a database within that network. So there is a virtual network within us, your own network. We have app, database, and DNS being set up. So that is S for all. So basically, if you see basic, standard, premium, S for all. And obviously this is for heavy load, this is for general purpose, this is for for if you have a simple blog and other things. And CDN support, there's blob storage support. There are a couple of things, caching and other things, and backup and restore support, and scale up and certification, which is SSL certification, and PHP MyAdmin support on all of these things. So I select, okay, let me go for standard. It could be a production as well. And I have, email, I have my password, and I'll give my ABCD1234 at as one of the password. Okay, it's a simple password, right? That's not password for my email, don't worry. Okay, so so there is two to three things which is interesting here. Is basically, either you could choose Azure CDN, which is the recommended way to manage your content delivery, making sure that you have performance and point of presence locations being taken care, where all your images of it's a WordPress. So when it comes to WordPress, what have usually happens is you have all of these static things available for you to download, right, when somebody is accessing your website. So all of these things can be used with the Azure CDN, and there is a point of presence, which is POP, locations within the any part of the world, so it's easily accessible from anyone. It is distributed, and obviously it is for security and performance and other things. And you can also use Azure Front Door for this, to make sure that you have a dynamic site acceleration and making sure that content delivery is there by caching. That is something which either you can choose this or this. And blob storage for storing and accessing images, videos, and other things. Support is already there, so you don't have to be worried about this. And when you go into the next and just create next, you have, it will validate all of these things whatever you have given. And if it is all true, you just need to go and just create this. So it gets created, while it takes some time to create all of these things. So I've already created a WordPress site for ourselves. So just I've given next, and it is creating one now. So let's go back here, all resources, and we can say okay, app service. Here we go. So this is the WordPress site which I have deployed previously, before doing this, because of the time constraint. I just want to make sure that we have deployed the WordPress for us to play around. So there is a link here, and if you click on this link, you have prepackaged app service running for you. So now I already have WordPress running for me. It's so easy, I have to do some clicks, and I have WordPress running for me. And all I need to do is probably go here and slash, um, what is that? Um, how do I access admin? It's been a long time that I have done anything related to WordPress. So, yeah. Investments. Okay. W admin, huh? Yeah. So you can access the admin here. Um, my user ID and my password, which is, we use this one, and that's it. So you have admin login for your WordPress. Once you have the WordPress running, I have admin login. I can, update plugins, appearance, and other things. If you're a WordPress developer, PHP developer, you can obviously make use of all of these things. So that's something which is easy, right? So this is a simple way to get it done. And there's a nice support for PHP MyAdmin as well. So I just copy the same link and say PHP MyAdmin. Um, Interestingly, there's a different username and password for that. I'll show you how to get that username and password. This is obviously, I've already used one, so that is the reason why you can see this. If you come here, if you can see this, let me open up this. Now you can see. I hope you can see this. Yeah. So if you come to configurations, go to configurations, and you can see bunch of hidden values, bunch of things been created, admin email, password, a lot of things which has been created. So for this, to access PHP MyAdmin, you need database username, and which is this database name, and this is the password, right? So I can go and say, okay, database username, is this, and oops, configurations, database password is this. You can change it if you want to. I was just editing it, so you can change the password. So I clicked on it. So there you go. So you can just go back and access your schema, MySQL, create tables, whatnot, manage everything here. And that's what it is. So you can do a couple of actions. So I'm going to show you a couple of more things, which is very interesting, right? So um, one is obviously deployment slots. So you can build and deploy different deployment slots within this. I need to upgrade my plan to premium to have that, but that is one of the thing. And we're going to talk about, there is a support. If you are using WordPress, there is a support for custom domains. So if you have you have a specific domain, wikibyte.com, you just go here and custom domain, just use it. And then there is a SSL support here, certificate, you can upload certificates and other things. Most important thing is scale up and scale out. When I say scale up, it means moving from the plan which we already have. Say if I have B1 as a plan, I want to move into production, I'll check this one and say apply. So I'm moving my plan to production. I can also scale down if you want to. And then there is scale out. A scale out is a interesting one. It's basically I can set replication of this service. So I can say 5 replications I want, and custom auto scaling, you can provide any metrics to scale this, or you can say manual metrics, manual scaling it. If I say custom, I have a couple of things, rules and other things which I need to set up, and manual is basically manual way of doing it. And this is what scale out means. You can create number of replications and other things. And obviously we have already discussed about service plans. There is monitoring support, advisory recommendations, which is there, which I talked about, which we're going to have a separate session on it, but we're going to discuss that as a separate one. So there are a bunch of things. If there are any recommendations, it's going to share those recommendations. So if you go here, it will tell me if what is the score of my service and other things which is running. So it is all good as of now, but if there is any issues, it will let me know. So that is it from the WordPress perspective. So what we saw was the most important thing I just want to share is what we saw in this discussion is, if you have any questions, just post it in the chat while I just summarize what we were discussing. Uh, we discussed this part, which is how to use this IDE, where you have application and you're using the IDE, and then you have different set of languages, which is .NET, Python, and other things to build, which is the development perspective. And also you can use pre-built packages. We used WordPress, which is a part of the pre-built packages, right? So that's the thing. And I have links to all of these things where you can go back and learn. There are a couple of modules and couple of an amazing GitHub repo as well. So we have shared that in the chat. You can take a look at that. But if you have any questions, please do drop in the chat, and I'm happy to take those questions. So let me know any questions on this. So these are the links. Let me share it in let me share it. For creating WordPress, let me share this here. So it's here. This is a link for you to go back and try out the WordPress, build WordPress, and see how exactly it looks. And obviously, I've used the Linux platform, so that's something which uh, I've been using. So Azure App Service on Linux, that is also available out there. Just try this out. And I want to share one more link to this, which is um, this obviously there is one more topic which I didn't talk about is migrations. Say if you have already running application, how do I migrate? And there are help there. There is Azure Migrate, which has been launched, and you can use that service to get the recommendations on your applications, how you can migrate, and how you can easily migrate those applications. We're going to do sessions on that as well. But today focus was to understand the app service and how it provides with different set of tools and language support and pre-built packages, and what are those things and how to build and deploy it. And 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 I hope you will go back and try all of those things. And this is a GitHub repo where you can find a lot of help as well. Just go back and take a look at it. And by the way, if you have any questions, just post it in the chat, or else it's an amazing Friday in Bangalore for sure, because it's raining and it's fun. So we're all there here to catch up. Any questions? Just post it in the chat. Cool. I don't see any questions apart from a couple of things like claps and stuff. Thank you very much. If you feel this was a good session, let me know as well that you understood everything and there was no questions at all. That's also a good compliment for us. Thank you very much for joining the show, and we'll be back next year with a different set of things, and there'll be amazing set of sessions going to happen in terms of, as I talked about, how application insight work as well with the app service. Very interesting one, because I was also not aware of that, and I'm discovering that as as I learn a lot about it, because it provides you the root cause analysis of your code. That's a interesting one. I don't see it in any other providers as well. So that's a interesting thing to explore. We're going to do those sessions as well, and migration sessions as well. So we're going to spend time there as well. Until we meet next time, thank you for joining, and thank you very much for attending this session. If you need anything, just reach out to us on my digital handle. That will be easy for us to answer all of those questions. So Rashmita, you closing? So I'm going to end the broadcast. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining in.